on this Wednesday night.
We need to be able to assure Canadians that there will be jobs, great jobs here in the future.
The government's new deficit expanding economic plan, made in Canada, driven by Trump. With a federal election on the horizon, we talked to the finance minister.
I felt less sad, less depressed, and eventually the suicidal thoughts diminished.
New possibilities for people whose depression doesn't respond to existing treatment. Could it mean new hope for 1 million Canadians?
That was a living room. They must have found her just sitting in the living room.
And fires in California leave behind stories of personal heartbreak, but also of heartwarming reunions. This is The National. The federal government delivered its fall fiscal update this afternoon, but it wasn't all about economics. Tonight, we'll look at the politics involved, the breaks to help some media companies, and we'll ask the finance minister why it's all going to cost so much. Because one thing is certain, Canada will be going deeper in the red for years to come.
The fall economic statement will be focused on things like competitiveness and the focus on drawing the benefit from the great trade deals we've been signing and moving forward on over the past years.
To do this, the Liberals have come up with more than $16 billion in new investments and tax breaks for businesses. But that will mean continued deficits. Remember that promise to balance things by next year? Well, there is no balanced budget for the foreseeable future. All of this is essentially a response to an unpredictable U.S. administration, one with protectionist impulses, low corporate taxes, and very deep pockets. As David Cochrane explains, it's clear the Trudeau government has a lot riding on the outcome.
The Honourable Minister of Finance.
Like everything these days, Bill Morneau's fiscal update is a response to President Donald Trump. One series of measures to respond to U.S. tax cuts.
To encourage businesses to invest in their own growth and create more good, well-paying jobs.
Others to steer Canada away from its dependence on the U.S. market.
Just because we share a trade agreement with the United States doesn't mean we'll always agree with their approach.
Those are the goals. Here's how the Liberals want to get there. To stay competitive with the U.S., there are billions in tax cuts for businesses to help them expand and buy equipment over the next 5 years. A 100% write-off for manufacturing and processing equipment. A 100% write-off for clean tech investment. Tripling the write-off for all other business investments. There's also more than $1 billion to diversify trade, including cash to boost roads, rails, and ports to get goods to Asia and Europe.
The Canadians will get the bill.
But the Conservatives warn this all comes with a big cost.
They are putting our future in a reckless state of danger by spending our tomorrow on their today.
That's right.
The tax cuts guarantee deficits as far as the eye can see, adding $100 billion to the debt over the next 6 years. The NDP says the bulk of that is going to the wrong people.
It looks like, and it's very clear that the Liberals are playing Santa Claus for rich corporations and Scrooge for everyday families struggling to get it by.
The reality is the Liberals didn't have a lot of choice but to make these tax cuts. Trump's tax cuts have pushed the U.S. deficit to historic levels, but they've made it far more attractive for companies to invest south of the border, a challenge Canada could not leave unanswered.
We could have ignored the concerns of business leaders, decided not to make the investments and the changes that are part of the fall economic statement, and we would have had a lower deficit as a result. To do so would be neither a rational response nor a responsible one.
In other words, the cost of doing nothing was higher than the cost of doing something. David Cochrane, CBC News, Ottawa.
And in an age when journalists around the world are being accused of producing fake news, the Trudeau government has decided to invest in local news. Nearly $600 million over the next 5 years to support media outlets struggling with dwindling revenues. It includes a 15% tax credit to encourage Canadians to subscribe to digital news media and giving charitable status to nonprofit news outlets to help them fundraise. But perhaps the most important measure, a new tax credit to help cover the labor costs of producing original news content locally. Ron Charles looks at just what that might mean.
For Lisa Van Nieuwenhove, the Uxbridge Cosmos is clearly a labor of love. She is publisher, editor, and a writer at the weekly local newspaper she bought 5 years ago, relying on freelancers for all the rest. Van Nieuwenhove is trying to buck the trend of small-town papers shutting down as ad revenue dries up her heads online. But it's been tough.
If you'd asked me in the summer, I probably would have started to cry and told you that I'm seriously considered folding, that I was seriously thinking about closing the doors.
Van Nieuwenhove pegs her paper's survival on remaining hyper-local, focusing only on news from Uxbridge, a small township of 21,000 people, just over an hour's drive northeast of Toronto. The Cosmos is a main source of news about the township council and municipal politicians.
I think that a small town newspaper is important so that we can respectfully, because, like I said, we work and live with these people, respectfully hold them accountable.
Mr. Speaker.
And so Van Nieuwenhove watched Bill Morneau's fall economic statement closely, searching for a headline that could offer hope for small-town publishers like her. She thinks she may have heard something, possibly money, to better cover council.
If it's money for that sort of person, then maybe it means that I take on a staff member, which is awesome. Maybe I can give somebody coming out of school a job.
And maybe her paper can avoid the same fate of so many other small-town news organizations across Canada. Ron Charles, CBC News, Uxbridge, Ontario.
Of course, the man behind the plan is the Minister of Finance, and I spoke to Bill Morneau earlier this evening from our Ottawa studios. Mr. Morneau, good to see you.
Hi, Rosie.
So you've invested more than $17 billion over 6 years to try, I guess, to keep Canadian businesses competitive. What evidence do you have, though, that this kind of action was actually necessary?
Well, first of all, our economy is doing well. The real focus here is how do we ensure that we continue to have the kind of investments we need to create jobs. I was out listening to business leaders over the last 6 months about how we can ensure that we continue to be competitive. And this was, frankly, the #1 issue that would allow businesses to invest to create jobs for the future.
So is it preventative, or is it that there are businesses that were thinking about leaving Canada, or is this really a measure to counteract that?
It's much more about thinking about the future. It's recognizing that there's always a competitive environment, that we need to be able to assure Canadians that there will be jobs, great jobs here in the future. And those only come if businesses make investments, both Canadian businesses and international businesses. That's what we're trying to achieve.
Okay, and I guess lots of people would say, well, why not just cut corporate taxes to the same rate as the Americans then? Why did you decide not to do that?
Well, corporate taxes, what they do is effectively, if someone made an investment 5 years ago, cutting corporate taxes would increase the profit from that investment. What we're really trying to do is make sure that they make the next investment. So what we've done is we've made that next investment much more attractive from a corporate standpoint, and that'll be what will create the great jobs.
You are doing this, though, by going further into deficit, so by using Canadian taxpayers' money to try and make sure these businesses stay competitive. Do deficits no longer really mean anything to the government? Do they not matter?
It absolutely matters that we have a strong fiscal position. I start with looking at that position. We have the best situation among all of our allies. We have the lowest amount of debt as a function of our economy. That's a really important starting point. And what we've done with these changes is we've still maintained that track of reducing our debt as a function of the economy over time, reducing our deficit as a function of the economy over time. This is the fiscally prudent approach, a balanced approach to moving forward, and not taking any dramatic turns.
But if the economy is doing as well as you say it is, and certainly there's evidence to prove that to be true, why put yourself further into deficit? Why is that so necessary right now? It's necessary when the economy's not doing well, but why is it necessary now?
First of all, we think it's important that we always consider the competitiveness of our environment. So we need to be thinking about tomorrow. Today, it is going very well, and we want to maintain that. Second, we do have the capacity. The economy has done well enough to provide us the capacity to do this while continuing to reduce the deficit and the debt. These are things that we need to do at the same time and do it in a measured and balanced way. That's what we think we've achieved with this fall economic statement. And that's consistent with the path that we've been on really from day one that's led us to very good economic results.
Okay, Minister Morneau, we'll leave it there. Thank you for your time, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
And this fiscal update, Adrian, sort of ends the chapter of this mandate in some ways, because the next budget is going to be very forward-looking into the next election campaign. But let's turn to the latest development in a story south of the border, all about the U.S. border with Mexico.
That's right. That's because the White House took its migrant caravan crackdown so much further today. It's now approved the use of soldiers to protect Customs and Border Patrol agents between California and Mexico. Now, their methods can range from temporary detention to lethal force. President Donald Trump also tweeted, again, with no evidence, "There are a lot of criminals in the caravan. We will stop them, catch, and detain." So remember, this particular mass migration began on October 13th, when 1,600 people left San Pedro Sula in Honduras. As they moved through Guatemala and Mexico, their numbers grew. Many reached the border city of Tijuana last week, and more just keep coming. That group is now estimated to be about 7,000, with maybe 3,000 more on the way. So the CBC's Kim Brunhuber takes us to Tijuana tonight.
It's a city of space blankets and tree houses, of chariot races and outdoor showers and soccer matches in socks. This baseball stadium in downtown Tijuana, a sudden city, hastily built by more than 1,500 migrants, a city of the bone-weary, like Wilmer Ramirez. He spent the last week, in his words, hiking like ants, he says. He points to his right leg, which no longer works, speaks of his elderly father, lost somewhere on the trail. There is some measure of safety here, but the border, once so close, seems as though it's receding. Yesterday in San Diego, Department of Homeland Security Secretary Kristen Nielsen inspected new measures to harden the border. More boats, more razor wire, more soldiers, while on the Mexican side, the crowd watches, word of the newly militarized border, quick to reach the migrants. Are you scared of the American soldiers, I ask Ramirez. Yes, he says, because they have a reputation for killing and killing and killing. They'll kill us all just to stop the caravan. In this shelter, they've expected the hostility shown by Donald Trump, but were dismayed to hear his views shared by some locals, too. For decades, mariachi Pablo Romero has been playing these Tijuana beaches. Migrants from the south are part of life, but these massive caravans, he says, are bad news. There are lots of pickpockets who are robbing, taking advantage of being here, so they're doing more bad than good, he says. Words echoed by Tijuana's mayor, which may have only escalated tensions. This beach used to be full of migrant tents, but now all except these two are gone after some local residents threw rocks at them. So in downtown Tijuana, a group of migration experts hastily convened to discuss the city's response to the caravans. It's unfortunate authorities are copying the hostile language used by President Trump, says social scientist Oscar Contreras. They've now drawn up a petition asking national authorities to investigate the mayor's comments. These comments don't represent our views, says Soraya Vasquez of Tijuana Migrante. Still, with more caravans arriving every couple of days, Honduran migrant Nolvia Navarro is worried about a growing backlash. Yes, the Mexicans are right. There are troublemakers in the caravan, but many of us are mothers, so we're asking them to accept us and don't throw rocks at us, she says. For Navarro and her two children, this will be a precarious home, as day by day the U.S. border and many Mexican hearts grow even harder. But they made it all this way. She believes, she has to believe, she says, that after all that suffering, God won't abandon them now. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, Tijuana, Mexico.
Okay, let's turn back to this country and to a hip-hop rivalry between Toronto's Drake and the U.S. rapper Pusha T that has been thrown back into the spotlight. Fights broke out at a concert last night that left one man critically injured. When Pusha T's show resumed, he seemed to implicate Drake in the attack. The CBC's Tashana Reid takes a deeper look at their feud and whether last night's commotion could have an effect on the wider hip-hop community.
40 minutes in, Pusha T's concert came to a halt when drinks were hurled on stage. Then, a fight in the crowd spilled over the barriers. Richie Astley saw it happen.
Once people started throwing punches, which I kind of figured this might be it. Yeah, especially when it spilled into the crowd and kind of you could tell that something pretty significant was going on.
When the show resumed, Pusha T alleged someone had paid disruptors, insinuating it was Drake. Then he launched into a track that's known to be a knock against Drake, part of their long-standing rap beef.
They're both at a certain level of success in their careers. I would like to think that neither of them would want to gamble with their careers by taking this rap beef from outside of the studio and into the streets.
Hip-hop writer A. Harmony isn't ready to make a link between the genre and last night's violence.
These things unfortunately do happen sometimes, and I don't think hip-hop is unique in terms of having violence erupt at concerts.
Drake and Pusha T have been at it for years. This summer, their beef boiled over when Pusha T accused Drake of not writing his own raps. When Drake fired back, Pusha T took it to another level, revealing Drake had a son. Then he mocked Drake's longtime producer, Noah Shabib, who has multiple sclerosis.
I study rap battles for a living. Now, when you mention defenseless people who are sick in the hospital that passed away, that really sent me to a place where, you know, I just believed then and believe now that there's just a price that you have to pay for that.
This hip-hop podcaster says Pusha T's provocation was just part of the show.
You know, if something happens at a concert in Toronto and Pusha T's on stage, what do you expect him to say?
He's more worried about the potential impact on local artists.
I just don't want it to paint a bad light on hip-hop where it makes it harder for even a local artist to be able to book shows. That's the most important to me.
Police continue to investigate just what led to the violence last night. For now, Drake has not weighed in. Tashana Reed, CBC News, Toronto.
Let's take a look at some other stories we're following tonight. A new case of E. coli connected to romaine lettuce has been confirmed, this time in New Brunswick. That's on top of 18 instances in Ontario and Quebec.
We are certainly encouraging all Canadians to ensure that they don't consume any romaine lettuce.
So Canada's 3 largest grocery chains have pulled thousands of products from the shelves. A public health warning was issued yesterday telling people not to consume romaine lettuce, and a full recall, though, has not been issued.
We are extremely serious. I really don't want to have to use back-to-work legislation. You've heard me say it time and again. I don't believe that's where the best deal can come from. But having said that, this is a really busy time of year. People are relying on Canada Post to deliver packages.
And so Ottawa has given formal notice that back-to-work legislation could be coming for Canada Post. And while this move means the action could come in the next 48 hours, it doesn't automatically mean it will. The federal labor minister is still hopeful both Canada Post and the union can reach a deal.
When I grew up playing sports, that stuff is not tolerated, and it's not what we're about.
One of the coaches of this weekend's Grey Cup referring to allegations of assault at St. Michael's College in Toronto. Today, the school's board voiced its support for the school's principal and president. 8 students have been expelled, and a total of 6 incidents involving the football team are currently being investigated by police. One involves the alleged sexual assault of a student.
Ahead tonight on The National, the new treatments that could bring new hope to Canadians living with depression.
And they fled Syria for Canada. Now, less than 2 years later, they are paying it forward, sponsoring another family. The warm welcome at the airport is our moment of the day.
That's incredible. First, though, the ruins of paradise. Briar Stewart takes us to California for an in-depth look at what was lost in the flames.
I just was expecting it not to be as bad, and then it's like this, and all gone in the ceiling, and it's literally buried.
On a street where there are more marijuana cafes than ones that sell coffee.
Gotta find what you like.
It's not surprising the idea of legalizing pot is an easy sell.
It's actually happening. There's nothing you can really do to control it, and you're gonna still go back and do it anyways, so why not legalize it?
That's the question a very unlikely source is also asking. In his report on BC's marijuana industry, this economics professor says by legalizing, then taxing pot, cash-strapped governments could collect an extra $2 billion a year. The report was funded by the very conservative Fraser Institute.
Who's going to get the spoil? Since we know it's out there already, the question is, to whom should the revenue go? Should the revenue go to people who you really may not like, organized crime and in all its guises, or perhaps should we have, as society, have more access to that revenue to perhaps undo some of the harms that we think it may do?
But try selling that idea to government. BC Solicitor General says any gains made by taxing pot would be lost in trade with the U.S.
They have always made it pretty clear that even the issue of decriminalization, which was being looked at last fall by the federal government, would tighten up the borders and affect trade between the two countries.
There are an estimated 17,000 grow-ops in BC alone, tens of thousands more in the rest of the country. But police say legalization wouldn't lighten their load, it would just cause more problems.
The Fraser report talks about regulation. Who's responsible for that? More and more, who is? Like, does anybody know? I don't. That report didn't talk about that. How do you get that taxes in there? Who's going to be responsible for collecting those taxes?
Easton's report doesn't address the health or social concerns of legalization. His findings are limited to the bottom line. Just after the report's release, though, the Fraser Institute took pains to point out its own bottom line, saying it doesn't necessarily agree with the report's findings. Rosa Marcatelli, CBC News, Vancouver.
Hundreds of millions of people suffer from depression. It's the leading cause of disability around the world. For the majority, medication and therapy can help, but for others, it's simply not enough. Close to 1 million Canadians live with depression that actually resists treatment. Shock therapy has long been considered an effective approach, but it can come obviously with serious side effects. So doctors are exploring less invasive treatments that go straight to the source of the problem. Cass Brucey explains.
It's hard to beat some quality time with your son.
You can throw it a little bit harder at me.
For Sky Saslov, it's a welcome break.
Look at your target.
For the past several years, she's struggled with debilitating depression.
I don't even know how to explain it because it's not angering, it's frustrating.
Saslov has what's known as treatment-resistant depression.
Sorry, interference.
She has major depressive disorder, which has been chronic, going on for over 7 years, and she has either failed to respond or failed to tolerate a number of antidepressant treatments.
So earlier this year, Saslov tried something different, agreeing to be part of a study at Sunnybrook Hospital in Toronto that uses a non-invasive approach to treating this kind of depression. With her head shaved and fitted with a metallic headgear, Saslov was placed in an MRI. Once inside, doctors then used ultrasound beams to heat and disrupt the precise part of the brain that causes depression.
It's going to get warm, okay, as we heat the tissue.
Think of it as an adjustment to the circuits of the brain.
And so the MRI guided focus ultrasound goes directly to that circuit, makes a cut or a lesion in that circuit, and stops it from firing when it shouldn't be firing.
The procedure is painstakingly slow, over 4 hours. And as Saslov is wheeled out, it's unclear if the treatment worked. It could be months before she feels any changes. In the meantime, doctors elsewhere are looking at other ways to treat the illness.
What you just heard was a very high-frequency magnetic pulse.
One of those is a brain stimulation treatment that uses magnets instead of electricity to induce a seizure.
Magnetic seizure therapy was really evolved out of this idea that producing a seizure for therapeutic purposes is very effective in depression.
One of the 250 patients who received the experimental treatment is Sharon Jacob.
I had incredible suicidal thoughts. I wanted to kill myself.
It got to the point her partner Karen had to suicide-proof their home.
Got rid of all the knives, all the scissors, anything sharp.
Oh, dark blue.
Jacob had a total of 30 sessions of MST, but she says she started feeling different early on in the treatment.
I felt what I call lighter because I felt less sad, less depressed, and eventually the suicidal thoughts diminished. So I'm holding out hope.
Sky Saslov's progress hasn't been as successful. Her depression hangs on, but she's not ready to give up. Neither are her doctors, who've told her that it might take up to a year before she feels any signs of relief. Cass Rusi, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, we'll be following that one. Ahead tonight on The National, he calls himself the world's oldest rebel. Harry Leslie Smith, 95-year-old war veteran, fierce advocate for refugees and the poor. Why the world is sending him their love tonight.
But first, Briar Stewart takes us in depth and inside the fire zone in California as families search for their loved ones.
I haven't heard any information of him at all. So I just want information. I want answers to know if he's safe and well.
You can now get their software packages for the car traveler, and once you've decided where you want to go, you just print up these nifty little things. Some of the programs will even suggest nice stops along the way, sightseeing extras.
And here now to show us a new way of travel planning is technology columnist Tom Keenan. He's in Toronto. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Brent.
So, Tom, are these big paper maps that Tina's having such trouble with a thing of the past now?
They really are. You know, this is probably the perfect Father's Day gift for anybody who loves to sit and daydream about going somewhere. Because what you can do with this program is plan a trip anywhere in North America, not only to see the shortest route or the most scenic route, but find out about attractions on the way. You can just sit all day and plan trips.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, when it comes time to actually getting into the car, do you not need any documentation at all? Is that the deal?
You can actually print out from this right on your own laser printer a pretty good map that will give you all the routes. You can print out lists of all the attractions on the way so you know where to stop. You could ultimately, I guess, put this on a laptop computer. I would not like to be in the car with you if you were driving along with a laptop computer on one side and the steering wheel on the other hand. But eventually, of course, it'll get built right into the car. So if you're one of the early adopters, one of the people who has to be on the leading edge, this is the time to get into the software.
Okay, now you mentioned attractions. Exactly how much information is there included in the attractions?
It knows about a lot of strange places. I mean, I knew about the head smash and buffalo jump because I'm in Alberta, but I didn't know that there was a Harry Truman Memorial. You know, there's all kinds of things in there. And what it tries to do is to suggest places that you might like to see along the way. It's pretty smart, too. It knows what time of year, if you tell it, knows what time of year you're planning the trip, so it won't try to take you to a water slide in the middle of the winter if it's somewhere where the water slide is not going to be open.
Right, thank goodness for that. Okay, now you have the thing booted up there, and let's plan a little road trip from, let's say, Toronto to New York City.
That's exactly what we've got up here. Now, as you can see the split screen, I can make the map a little bit bigger here, and what we've got now is it draws the route, shows you suggested roads, picks its route, and it is drawing the map. And now as we go along here, it's going to actually trace down from Toronto through Buffalo, through Rochester, up through New Jersey and into New York. So that's one side of it, the map side. The other side actually gives you nice detailed driving directions. So it says you're going to start out on provincial route number 11 and the Queen Elizabeth Way, and eventually you wind up down here. It even tells you where to stop. So at the end of the day, it's a 2-day drive. So it's a 2-day trip that's about 512 miles long. So it suggests a place that you can stop. I'm wondering if the motel owners at a particular place might have paid them off here to get you to stop at their motel.
Well, does it actually tell you what the expenses might be in such a trip as well, Tom?
Exactly. There's a menu up here, and one of the things you can do is you can put in cost. Now, one negative about this thing, you better think in gallons, because I couldn't find any metric option here, so I put in fuel prices, $1.29 a gallon. Let's say the car gets 25 miles per gallon. You can put in lodging costs, and you actually can go and cost out your trip. The other thing that you can do is you can ask it for other things. For example, you can pick a route type. I picked the quickest route, but you can also ask for the shortest one in distance or the most scenic one, and it will go and recalculate the route for you.
Now, obviously, Tom, when as you were talking about inboard, I think like within the dashboard computers that are on the way, when those things come, what could we expect then? Additional information coming in all the time, like traffic and routes and that kind of thing?
Well, just think about southern Alberta recently. We had roads that were closed, so it would have routed you around the fact that a certain highway, the Highway 3 through the Crow's Nest Pass, doesn't exist anymore. So it would know about that in real time. What you would have is a combination of a cellular phone modem that took continuous updates on the local road and weather conditions, probably traffic conditions, and you also have a global positioning center. So ultimately, you could decide, hey, I'm coming into Buffalo and I want a really, really good Italian meal. What's a good Italian restaurant? And it would steer you directly to the front door.
And tell you what the specials are that night too, I suppose.
Rain has come to Northern California. As much as 20 centimeters is expected, soaking earth that was scorched by the deadliest wildfire the United States has seen in at least 100 years. There are now concerns of mudslides and deteriorating conditions for those left homeless by the disaster.
I feel pain and I feel anger, and I just really wish that somebody were able to give us a place to go, just to get out of the rain.
And the fire is well on its way to being contained, but there's no way to contain the impact of scenes like these. The desolation left behind is sickening. The town of Paradise, California, all but seared from the face of the earth. Tonight, the death toll sits at 83, but that number has been rising almost daily since this fire first began 2 weeks ago. And then there's the list of those missing, which has swung from as high as 1,300 people to as low as 560, as an ever-changing rush of names swirls around officials like cinders on the wind. The local county sheriff acknowledged it's possible the final death toll will never be known. Tonight's dispatch is from Paradise, California, where Briar Stewart takes us to the anguished heart of the wildfire.
As soon as you enter what once was the town of Paradise, the scale of destruction is painfully clear and overwhelming.
There were some houses over there. This is completely devastating.
Christina Taft has lived here for 10 years. It was an idyllic spot, nestled in the trees of the foothills. But in just a few hours, most of this town of 27,000 was destroyed.
Completely gone.
We turn into her neighborhood and the home she fled nearly 2 weeks ago.
It's just completely like crumbled ash.
This is the first time she's returned since the fire.
The neighbors stuff. He warned us, and this is just completely leveled.
And this is also the final place she saw her mother.
She was in the kitchen, like the couch was there, and you know, there was actually things here, and now it's just unrecognizable. Can't even tell.
A neighbor had knocked on Taft's door the morning of the fire, urging them to leave. Christina started packing, but says her mother, 66-year-old Victoria Taft, who was partially blind, refused to go. She hadn't heard an evacuation order from officials, so she wanted to stay put. The two got into a fight, and as the sky darkened and ash rained down, Christina panicked and left.
So just was expecting it not to be as bad, and then it's like this, and all gone in the ceiling, and it's literally buried.
Heavenly Father, please help us.
For all those who tried to escape that day, the drive out was terrifying. Roads were choked with traffic. The fire was spreading rapidly. Once she realized how bad it was, Christina tried calling 911, hoping firefighters could rescue her mom. Later that day, she started searching at the evacuation centers and reported her mother missing. Then a few days later, searchers found her remains.
That was a living room. They must have found her because they dug there. Just sitting in the living room.
It's not yet clear how many people were trapped by the fire, but many of those who lived here were elderly, and some couldn't make it out on their own. In the days after, boards were plastered with desperate pleas from family members. Many suspected hundreds were unaccounted for. When the official list came out, more than 1,000 names were on it.
You know, there was a discussion. They talked about this. They said, Sheriff, if we put this out, you know, there's going to be big. There's going to be duplicate. It may you know, cause some people concern about the length of it. But I ultimately felt it was more important to get the information out.
Some of the names were on there twice. Other entries are incomplete. Each day, the list swells and shrinks depending on who else is reported missing and who is found. For evacuees and their families, there's been a haze of confusion and miscommunication. People are scattered and homeless. There's the stress of losing everything, followed by the dread of not being able to connect with a friend or relative.
So we don't know where he is. That's why we're here to hopefully give a DNA sample.
People are submitting DNA samples so it can be compared against the more than 80 remains that have already been found.
And there's going to be a lot of people displaced.
Terry Poliquin's family submitted theirs.
Just wait, have time, wait for the DNA to come in, for my aunt and my brother to find out if he has perished. That's the only thing that we can do right now. I think I've done everything I can.
Poliquin was living in this RV park. His home survived the fire, and a neighbor we spoke to even said she was sure she saw him leave.
I mean, when did you see him last?
Thursday, the day the fire started. Right, not too long after they came through and said everybody needed to evacuate. So I know they loaded him up and got him out of there. So, and nobody's been back since.
A lot of people have been sharing it.
But his daughter Alicia Martin and the rest of the family couldn't get a hold of him. They reported him as missing.
So, it's not like him to not contact his daughter, especially with a disaster like this. I'm just hoping I get answers, and I know a lot of people out there are waiting for answers.
And the family finally got one, news they happily shared online. Just hours ago, he texted them. His cell phone had been lost in the evacuation. That's one more name that can be removed from this list, but so many others remain.
Finish right down here on this creek bottom right there. We're going to reline out from there again and push back towards the road.
Hundreds of searchers have fanned out across the unrecognizable neighborhoods, picking through the ash and rubble of the 13,000 buildings that were incinerated here.
All of these properties were quickly searched after the fire, but now crews are taking a much more thorough look. And when they're done, they spray paint a marking on the driveway like this one. It says what time the crews were here and also whether or not there was a victim.
Phil, as you make your way up here, this is the tub and the shower. Okay. And that looks like the upper piece of it right there in front of you. So I think that's a bed.
Jason Denton and his team of volunteers came from Oregon to help out. They're focused on searching what were bedrooms and living rooms, places where people were likely to be.
So since we can't sift through everything, we're looking for the high probability areas.
At this lot, they spent more time carefully lifting up parts of a roof and walls because they noticed that at this house there was a wheelchair ramp.
And how does this compare to what your team would normally search?
Normally we're looking for a missing person out in the woods that's alive. And, so this is drastically different than what we're normally used to looking for. Even if it's a person that's no longer alive, not of this scale. We have no idea how many or what will be out here. So this is a big eye opener. We brought 12 volunteers down here and they'll all be changed when we get back.
They then take another sweep of Christina Taft's home and where her mother's body was found.
Oh, here's another photo of her too.
One of the few things she packed before the fire was pictures.
Yeah, it's just terrible, when had all of that, got all the stuff in my car and then not her. And
looking at them today, she feels consumed with guilt.
I did pack. It was terrible to think how, dying in flames, and I could have stayed longer and waited. It's just really awful.
Her mother, one of the many victims in what is now the deadliest fire ever in California. And that list will almost certainly grow as crews go lot by lot, picking through what once were homes and are now the site of a grim search.
Briar joins us now for more. Briar, given what you've seen in Paradise, what really stands out for you?
Well, Adrian, really just the sheer level of destruction. In a town of 26,000, 13,000 buildings were destroyed, so nearly everybody is now homeless. People are living in tents at the Walmart, at the fairground. You have families of 5 or 6 cramped in a single motel room and now trying to figure out just what's next. And of course, the other thing is all of the uncertainty around the death toll and just how high it could be. And it's really hard to understate all of the confusion around the number of people still missing. A lot of people have been putting up posts online looking for their relatives, and I spoke with one woman who said she received a message from someone that her aunt had been found. So obviously a lot of relief there, but then she found out a few hours later that that person was wrong. Her aunt was still missing. So that miscommunication and confusion really just makes a terrible situation all that much worse.
You know, it's so interesting to get your perspective on this, Briar. You've covered wildfires like this before. You were in Fort McMurray when fire tore through that city. How does the situation in Paradise compare?
Well, there's no doubt that the fire in Fort McMurray was devastating, but really what happened in Paradise was worse on every single level. Think of the evacuation. In Fort McMurray, 90,000 people were able to leave the city, and no one died as they left Fort McMurray. Well, in Paradise, that certainly didn't happen. We don't know how many people didn't make it out, but we do know some people had to abandon their cars and try to outrun the fire on foot. In Fort McMurray, a lot of people were certain that they were going to rebuild. Some of the folks I've been speaking with in Paradise say that they're not sure that they want to go back. Not only is the town nearly destroyed, but they don't want to move back into neighborhoods where there's been so much death. Adrian.
Okay, Briar, thanks very much. Briar Stewart in California tonight.
Incredible stories. Up next on The National, Sasha Petrusik takes us to Beijing for a look at the push to control religion and the cat and mouse game with underground congregations.
The Chinese officials are waiting for us at the apartment gate. No foreigner, no camera, he says. Closed.
Your first time?
Yes.
Boots and Hearts? How are we feeling?
Feeling great. First time here at Boots and Hearts. Looking forward to playing some music for the fellow Canadian music fans here. It's my second time here in this country playing, so just looking forward to playing and honored to be a part of it.
Tell me, I'm working on a story about how the demographic of country music fans have changed. Certainly from my day, back when I was in high school, it was not that cool to say that you liked Garth Brooks. You probably had to kind of hide it from people who listened to hip hop and grunge, which were the cool music eras. Do you find, whereas now I look at your fans and Madeline Merlot's fans, they're young people.
Yeah,
do you find that's changed?
I think it's changed a lot because with each generation of country music artists, you're inspired by what you grew up listening to. So my generation, we grew up listening to country, but as well as like pop, rock, hip hop, R&B, jazz. So it's only natural that your influences will inspire what you create, you know? So it's like, yeah, we're creating country and the story's there and the lyric is still the same, but the feel of it, the progression, the different melodies that carry over from pop melodies, from R&B melodies, from rock melodies, kind of, it's what's naturally inside of you. So, you know, it's only right that it comes out through the music. And I think music is the one thing that has consistently over time connected everyone. Music's the one place where you can go where you don't see skin color, you don't see a background, you don't see the economical differences between people. You just see the music and you feel it, and that's what connects us all. So hopefully one day we can get to the point where, you know, yeah, you'll have your country music festival, but at the same time you can have Garth Brooks on the same stage right after Jay-Z or right before FGL, or right before Kid Rock, you know, right. So, yeah.
One thing you mentioned, you know, no divisions and skin color. One thing obviously keeps on coming up, the country gets a lot of flack for, is that it's less diverse than other genre, than pop or hip hop and so on. You being one of the few African-American artists really performing on a high level in country, how did you feel about that, like especially when you first entered the industry?
For me, I'm such a history buff. If you look at the origins of where country music comes from, it stems from blues. You know, so it was blues based. If you listen to the lyrics and the storytelling in country music comes from blues, and over time it went a little Western. But to me, it's just like country music just getting back to where it first came from, just for everyone. You know, because when country first started off years ago with like Chuck Berry and before it went Western, it was a genre for everybody. And what happens is you have people that they want all ethnicities in music. It just takes certain artists like myself, like Kane, like Darius, like Mickey Guyton. There's a Canadian artist here, Sasha. She's amazing. It just takes us that aren't afraid to be different and stand out for a while until the rest of the artists are like, you know what? They love us too, so let's come on over. So to me, I think it's great.
And when we're Talking about shifting demographics of your fans, when you look into your audience, who do you see? Who are your fans?
That's a good question. Like I've been, I remember my labels were trying to dial down, tune in really who my demographic, and I don't know. Like I've seen everyone at my shows from 6-year-old kids who knew my music to this 85-year-old man. Him and his wife came to my Opry debut because he said they fell in love with my music. Like I go to shows and I'll see people wearing cowboy hats. I'll see people wearing Jordans and long T-shirts. I'll see girls in cowboy boots. I'll see girls in sneakers. I honestly have no clue. Like I just look out in the audience and I just see people that look like they're from different parts of life, and I love that. You know, I love that I can't specifically say this is my demographic.
Anytime the RCMP has an investigation, it's a serious matter. I am absolutely, I cannot speak to that any further.
It is still so strange because there are still more questions and answers about why 2 senior officials at the BC legislature are under criminal investigation. Today we learned the Speaker of the House raised concerns about Clerk Craig James and Sergeant-at-Arms Gary Lenz as far back as January. The RCMP was alerted in August. No details about the investigation have been released, except that it has to do with their administrative duties. And in Los Angeles today, prosecutors declined to charge Michael Avenatti with felony domestic violence. Instead, they referred the case to city prosecutors to consider misdemeanor charges. The high-profile attorney was arrested last week after his girlfriend told police he assaulted her. Actress Morelli Minuti says in court papers Avenatti dragged her by the arm across the floor of his apartment after an argument. Avenatti denies all allegations.
I feel honored to have been elected to preside over the executive committee over the next 2 years.
And so Interpol has a new president. Kim Jong-yang of South Korea beat out a Russian candidate, and that's key because the Russian was the favorite for the job and there were concerns over Kremlin interference. The International Police Organization says the election was free and transparent. Kim is a career policeman and will serve a 2-year term.
China is in the throes of a Christian revival, and tonight we're looking at how that's playing out. As a rule, the communist government discourages spiritual devotion, or at least tries to control it. It has long been illegal to teach a child about religion. Now, with a surge in Christian faith, a crackdown is in full swing, and it's driving the faithful underground. Our Asia correspondent Sasha Petrosic shows us that for some Christians, simply going to a church means risking a confrontation.
In a residential corner of Beijing, down a leafy side street, the Chinese officials are waiting for us at the apartment gate. No foreigner, no camera, he says. Closed. That is until our host, Pastor Shu Yonghai, comes out. After arguing with officials, he invites us up to his small 3rd-story flat. The political pressure on us is growing, he says. See the trouble you had? Our people get stopped all the time. Once a week, Shu's parishioners meet around the dining room table in this so-called house church, or perhaps elsewhere if police intervene. It's one of thousands of tiny underground congregations playing cat and mouse with authorities across the country. Indeed, China has the fastest growing Christian movement in the world. Its followers likely outnumber Communist Party members. Beijing isn't ready to let things get out of its control. In the past months, dozens of Protestant churches have been raided and shut, sometimes violently, says Pastor Zhang Chunli from China's Christian heartland in the south. Police came in and removed our crosses and books, he says. They told us the gatherings are illegal. Even larger, government-approved churches have been ordered to reduce their visible presence by removing crosses. As work crews took down one huge cross in the southern city of Xinjiang recently, parishioners prayed and sang. A video circulated online shows one man yelling, "Religious people are not bad. Why are you treating us like this?" Beijing's taken a very different approach with the Catholic Church here. It hasn't been so much confrontation as negotiation, a deal with the Pope over who gets to choose China's bishops. That's been a sticking point since the 1950s and only seems to have been resolved over the past few weeks. In a public appeal from Rome, Pope Francis asked Catholics to support the arrangement, saying it will open a new era of cooperation with the communist leadership, though Vatican insiders say it will also effectively give Beijing a veto over appointments. The deal's been controversial. The head of the Hong Kong Catholic Church calls it a betrayal that doesn't protect religious rights.
Now, after the signing of this provisional agreement, there will still be time when priests suddenly they've been made disappeared.
He says China will continue to remove clergy it doesn't like and close churches whenever it wants. As news of the deal spreads through China's Catholic congregation, parishioners don't think much will change either. Rome may set the spiritual tone, but Beijing seems ready to exercise its earthly power. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Beijing.
Up next on The National, they've been in Canada for just under 2 years, but already a family of newcomers from Syria is paying it forward and sponsoring a family of their own.
He turned to me and he said, "That's okay, we're ready to take a family that we don't know, and we're ready to welcome them in the same way that we were welcomed."
Their story is next in our moment, but first. In case you missed it, for the past 24 hours, there's been a global cyber vigil. Thousands of people, the likes of Mia Farrow, Justin Trudeau, British politicians, all worrying about 95-year-old Canadian Harry Leslie Smith, now in the ICU in Belleville, Ontario.
I am the world's oldest rebel.
Yes, he is. A man who lived through the Great Depression, served in the Second World War, became an advocate here and in the UK for social causes, and has spent his last years meeting and fighting for refugees.
And we shouldn't be leaving anyone out, no matter what their nationality, colour, or traits are.
With 250,000 Twitter followers, Harry is being heard. How's Harry?
He is in critical but not acutely critical condition. And
His son was live tweeting updates from his dad's bedside last night, as Harry wanted. He apparently is so touched by the support.
This is a man that really had a very ordinary life. He didn't really rub shoulder to shoulder with the powerful. That in his final years, people have come to really love this guy because of he's a guy that represents his generation and still wants to do good around the world.
The Syrian refugee crisis in particular really rocked Harry. He told the UNHCR that in the Syrians, he flashes back to another era when he first encountered those fragile souls liberated in Belgium and Holland.
I can still see them. Absolute, pitiful, hungry, starving.
And so, Harry fights for current generations of refugees and now for himself in a hospital in Ontario. Buoyed, his son says, by the care of strangers on the net.
For several years, we automatically associated teenage drug use with hippies. But recent reports of drug use in small-town and suburban schools means we can no longer type the teenage user. And how many of us would recognize the drugs themselves? This happens to be marijuana in its natural state. Before a police raid on the illicit plot completed the cycle by burning the weed into smoke.
Dr. Lionel Solers is chairman of the Canadian Medical Association's Special Committee on Drug Abuse. And I think, Dr. Solers, what we need is a kind of primer on the drugs and how you can recognize them and what the effects are. Is marijuana still the one that's most commonly used?
I think just to keep it in perspective, there are two things that need to be said. One is that in all the surveys of drug use amongst youth, the commonest drug in use has been alcohol. Secondly, tobacco, roughly in 2/3 and at 50% of the population. Then with a quick drop to about 7 to 15% of our, say, high school population comes marijuana, and then the others. The other point that we're making time and again is that this is just the tip of an iceberg. We see it because it's in front of our nose, but this is an entire social problem. What about over-the-counter drugs, etc.? They account for many more hospital admissions than marijuana anywhere.
Well, I think we'll assume that people know about alcohol and about cigarettes, so let's move into the first category. Sure.
I gather that marijuana is really just one part of a larger family of so-called drugs.
Well, there's an entire group of drugs which could be loosely called youth drugs, which are illusinogenic or hallucinogenic in action. That is, they produce illusions, distortions of what you see or hear, or hallucinations, seeing or hear something that isn't there at all. One of the mildest, probably, is marijuana. And this includes a lot of other drugs, such as LSD, DMA, or MDA, sorry, TMA, various solvents that are inhaled, and so on. Yes.
But marijuana is a plant, isn't it?
It's a plant. Cannabis sativa is the name of the plant. And the mildest form of drug that can be prepared from it would be marijuana. It's the chopped up stems, leaves, that sort of thing, with the seeds filtered out, yes.
Well, you have some with you, so let's take a look at it so that anyone who finds it
could
looks, recognize it.
Let's see here.
This is the actual bit of the dried plant here, eh?
That's a dried marijuana plant. Here is some marijuana, which is, it just looks like oregano or almost any chopped up
Yes, I was just going
product.
to say, it just looks like a herb you might use in the kitchen. There's no...
What distinguishes it probably is the smell and, of course, the chemical content. There are several substances which are probably active in that way.
You can smoke that?
You can smoke it rolled in a cigarette as if it were tobacco, or it can be mixed with tobacco. It can be boiled as in tea and drunk, or injected, has happened on occasion. It can be sniffed. Usually smoked as a cigarette, yes.
You can put it in brownies, can't you? Alice B.
You can
Toklas
bake
had
it
a recipe.
in brownies or fudge. It's surprising that you would know this, but very interesting.
There was a movie made.
Alice B. Toklas' cookbook, yes.
John, are you there? Hey. Who are those voices?
Your children?
Welcome, you! Look who's back in town!
This group of Syrian newcomers was hoping to sponsor their own family members over, but when they learned that's not how the program worked and that refugees were actually drawn from a UN-approved list, they decided not to just walk away. Instead, they decided to sponsor a family of complete strangers. And so almost 2 years after they arrived in Canada, they welcomed a new Syrian family. And that moment is our moment.
Merci, thank you. I have told them before, you are not refugee anymore. Now you are 100% Canadian, and Canadians, they love to do something good.
The people Canadian here help me and help all the refugee from Syria. I like help some people, like whose people help me, I help another people. Everybody now already for the family, and everybody help the family. If you need go to doctor, if you need to translate, if you need go to shopping.
This family like my brother and like my family.
Okay, that's great. You know, a couple things jump out at me. Those hugs are pretty amazing for people who don't know each other. I know they were also greeting them with those carafes of super strong Syrian coffee. Just wake up, welcome to Canada. And also, I think 95-year-old Harry Leslie Smith, who advocates for refugees and is in a hospital bed in Belleville, Ontario now, if he's watching this, would love that moment.
I should point out they arrived in Ottawa, where it is probably, to their horror, extremely cold right now. But they're not staying. They're moving to Brockville, which is probably balmy by comparison. So anyway, a lovely story. That's The National for November 21st. Good night, everyone.
Good night.